Guys and girls, it's happening, and we are seeing it a lot at the moment. Superannuation moves with purchases out there. We're going to tell you about the different moves they've been making. Stay tuned. Good evening, Bidan.
Hello, Mark. How are you today?
Good, bud. You?
Very good. Good to see you.
Here we are, guys and girls. We wanted to tell everyone about what we're seeing out there with superannuation. It's a big bucket.
Definitely. Big time.
It's a big bucket. Now, this is going to go, just to give you an idea of how much money we're talking, guys and girls. There's $3.5 trillion in super.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. There's more money in super than the Australian stock market.
Yep.
There's more money in super than we have debt. There's 10 trillion in the property market at the moment, and we're sitting at 3.5. And we've only just begun. So when it started, where were you? 1992. In the womb.
The thought of me was not even there.
So 1992, we had Bob Hawke turn around and say, you know what, we're going to make everyone save, and it was about 3% when it was introduced. Now it's sitting, I believe, close to 11% for the next year, and I think it's going up to 12. It's finishing at 12%. So it's a huge war chest.
Big time. That's a lot of money. 12% from everyone.
Guess where are we in the world?
Top 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
Can you believe that? So our population, we're less than 1% of the world's population. We're 0.4% of the world's population. Yet our war chest of super is number 4 in the world.
That's a lot. What to do with all that money?
It's you know what? It's crept up. It's crept up. I think people it was all very, I don't know. It was sort of half pregnant, where you couldn't really do. Like, for a lot of people, it was like 20 grand, 40 grand, can't really do much with it. So it organically just sat in managed funds.
Yeah.
Whereas I think now people are going, you know what, that's $100,000 on my money, or 200, or if I join it with my kids or my parents or my husband, you're talking, $250,000 again, or $500,000 again. Oh my God, it's got to this big critical mass where they're going, yeah, maybe we don't want it in the stock market anymore.
Yeah. You want to manage it yourself.
Manage it yourself.
Yeah. You want to be in control of your own money. Like, technically, it's your money. Like, it's come from your paycheck to super.
Yep.
So, yeah, there we go.
But it's frozen till you're like 67.
Yeah. You might not even live.
Oh, Shannon Doherty didn't. Well, did you hear about that lady from Beverly Hills 90210? Was it Shannon Doherty? She's poor lady, 52, passed away. You might not get there. But Australian super is a big thing, guys. So, what do you reckon?
I think you want to manage your own money. If that's going 10 to 12% out of your paycheck.
Yep. And that's sort of what people are doing at the moment. So we're witnessing it on the coalface, where it used to be like the mum and dad investor come along, they buy a unit and off they go. Whereas now, they're doing it through a different vehicle. They're doing it through their super. So this is not a financial advice. It's purely an observation of people out there and what we're seeing them buy. What are you seeing on the streets?
I think it's very common these days. Like, I think 4 or 5 years back then, when someone said super, it's just some money your employer pays for you, and you can only access it after retirement. I think few people got access when the COVID was there, lockdown was happening. Few people got a little taste of it. But now, when you're out there in the market day in, day out, self-managed super fund, it's getting very popular.
Yeah.
And lots of people wanting to be clever with the pricing going up. They're thinking other ways, like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? Think so. Self-managed is, I think, getting very popular these days.
Yeah.
And they're using and wanting to be their own being in the driver's seat, be controlling them. I think that's what I'm seeing.
It's interesting because, and I think where you can leverage it. So to give you an idea, let's just not talk about super for a second. If I have $500,000, okay, let's just use $100,000. If I've got $100,000 and I want to buy something, I want to invest. If you leverage your money, that's when it's really getting potent. That's when it's really getting powerful. It's the law of leveraging. So if you, for instance, buy $100,000 of shares, that's great. Unique thing with property is that if you've got 100,000, the banks will give you 400,000 or even 500,000 to match your 100,000. So suddenly you can go out and enjoy the capital growth. You can enjoy the rent on $500,000 or $600,000 of investment. Now with stocks, it's very hard to convince a bank to say, "Hey, I've got $100,000. I want to borrow $400,000 for this stock." For property, it's very easy. Now, when we rewind that back to where we started this conversation, for anyone who's just come in, we're talking about superannuation tonight. The powerful thing now with super is these deposits, or the seed money that you're going to be leveraging of 50,000 or 100,000, whatever, you can actually borrow a multiple of 4 or 5 on top of that. And then you can enjoy the capital growth on that whole amount, on the multiple. You can enjoy the rent on a multiple. It's pretty cool.
That's very interesting. But from $100,000, that's like a little bit of money that you can't buy a proper house.
Yep.
If you go to the bank, they'll lend you $500,000.
Yep.
That's big.
Yep. So that goes for residential, but you're actually, the funny thing is the bank lends you the money, but they let you keep the profits on all of the money, and they let you keep the rent on all of the money, providing you keep up the interest repayments.
Okay, so all you have to do is pay in time.
Yep. So so if your rent, your capital growth may be 10%, put rent on top of that, you may be getting 15% a year return on your investment, but the bank only wants 6.
There you go.
Right. So you put in your 100K, you borrowed your 500K. It's quite compelling. Why would banks be prepared to do that on an asset of property and not an asset of stocks? I guess it's safe.
Yeah, much safer. You can probably see the property is registered somewhere.
It's tangible.
Yeah.
So then when we're blueprinting that across to superannuation, it's the same concept there, where you can actually leverage your super. So, you can actually, if you've got a smaller amount, the bank will give you a larger amount, and you can enjoy all of that capital growth and all of that rent.
Yeah, I think that's big time leverage. Big time. It's like you have 1 car, you go to the bank, they'll give you 5 cars.
Yep.
And you can rent all of them.
Yep.
Enjoy all the income coming.
Yep.
And you have to pay only interest of those 5 cars in time.
Yep.
4 cars technically.
See, richest people in the world are doing it. That's
There you
how they're using other people's money to become rich. Really good movie, Becoming Warren Buffett. You watched it yet?
Yep, I heard you mention a lot of times. I went the other day and watched it.
You watched it?
Yeah, I watched it.
What'd you take from it?
There was quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of them. You don't worry about getting debt. You need to take leverage of it.
Yeah.
And you always have to make your money work. Rather, like no one's rich by saving money.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest a wake up call. Like you can't get rich by saving money.
No.
Like because if you have like 20 grand in a bank, 5 years down the line, you can't use the same 20 grand and buy the same thing.
No.
So it's just sitting there.
Inflation.
Yeah. And I think the tax was pretty much the biggest thing. You're earning, there's tax getting cut. You're buying something, there's tax getting cut. The person who put their shop there, he's paying tax as well.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of that, I think, and then super came in when we were talking about, and anything that you buy through super and any capital gains there's no tax.
Oh.
I think that was my biggest plus point.
Yeah. Can you say that again? That's a whopper.
Yeah. So if you buy anything from super, and income coming from super, there's no tax.
So when you're in full pension mode and retired, that's pretty incredible. So if you buy something, if you're 40 and you buy something for, you have 100,000 or 200,000 in your super, you and your partner, you buy something for 500. When you're 50, hypothetically, on the northern beaches, that's worth $1 million.
Yep.
And hypothetically, that's worth $2 million when you're 65. Sorry, 60. Now, when you get into full pension age and full pension mode, when you sell that, normally in the property world, you'll have to pay a thing called capital gains tax. So the government will say, put their hand out and say, hey, we want some of that. When you're in, when you've actually pension mode and you've sold, it's all in your pocket.
It's all in the pocket. Yeah.
And if you rent it, that's all in your pocket as well. So to give you an idea, you say that property that you have that you bought for 500,000 when you're 40. Say that rent is $2,000 or $3,000 a week by the time you're retired. That $2,000 or $3,000 a week, if you're in full pension mode, is untaxed. So that's another benefit. And look, we're not giving out financial advice, but we're noticing why people are getting into the whole super thing is for these reasons. So we're talking to people and they're going, why are you doing this? And again, this is why. It's like, wow. Yeah. Any other benefits?
Well, I think you're more control of your money rather than you paying tax on pretty much everything.
Yeah.
You'll be like, okay, I'll rather use it myself and utilize it there. But what other benefits?
Well, what I notice is people are actually using their, because you could put up to, I think it's 30 grand or something a year into your
super.
Into your super.
Load in there.
Yeah. So I'm noticing, like, when people have got their kids moved out of home, it's just hubby and wifey, and they don't have school fees. They're not. They've got a bit of spare change. They actually focus on paying a little bit more of that spare change. So instead of taking and putting it in their pocket and saving it, they're whispering to their employer, "Hey, can you put this extra $5 grand a year or 10 or 15 into my super?" So people are actually hiving away 30K each when they get to an age when they're a bit more comfy, and that's paying off a property
There you go.
as well.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, I guess it's, it's interesting because it's almost a tax in a way. It's almost a forced tax. The government's saying, hey, you've got to pay for this for yourself. It's going into your pocket. But if you can leverage that, I think that's damn clever. It's damn clever because you can actually just leave it in there doing nothing. I had a talk with, I've got two girls last night while at dinner having a chat. And it's a pain in the ass, super. So I've got an 18-year-old, she's worked in the office. We set up a super for her. And now she's got a job doing nursing. And she's trying to get all the numbers from here to make sure she's got, telling her employer to say that's the account. So my other daughter turns around and says, hey, just get another super set up. and then the youngest one goes, it's not a bad idea. Oh, can you do that? And I said, what do you mean? And then the oldest one goes, I've probably got 5 or 6 different supers. And I said, you know what? Be careful. Because I said, you got 5 sets of fees. You got 5 setups. You got 5 exits. So I said, just be careful. So if you're not in control and smart, it can just
bite you back.
It can wither away. It can wither away and wither away.
It's like credit cards.
Yes, Paul.
If you pay everything on time, use that. No fees, no nothing. Credit score is perfect. But if you're late in payments,
I'll take it.
They'll take it big time.
We, one of our crew here, she's in her late 50s, and she said that today. She said, I'd just like to nominate just to pay more into my super, and I don't want it to my take-home package. I want it to be less. I was like, why are you doing that? She's like, well, I'm just paying, I pay less tax.
Makes sense.
I was like, that makes sense. So guys and girls, today is, I guess the big message is, it's unbelievable moves, and we're seeing people right now. This is fundamentally the critical turnaround or change that we can see where people's appetite for property with their super is massive. And if you don't know, we're telling you. If you're not, and sometimes it may not be a barbecue conversation or a conversation you have with friends and family, but I'm telling you, at the moment, it is out there. It is massive, and there's a lot of people doing it. Look at all the Bunnings warehouses.
Pretty much 90% of our buyers are there. And at this stage, I don't think you have to mention, do you want to buy from your super? They're already buying from the super.
Yep.
People are getting clever. I think the word's getting around.
Yep. It's out there.
Yeah.
What else, Bidan? Anything else you want to cover?
I think that is pretty much all. I think
Any comments?
Being clear with your money. Yeah, no questions.
No questions there, guys. We're a live show, so if you want to ask us any questions about what we're seeing out there on the streets with people's moves on what they're doing with super, let us know. We're here. Give us a call. We're here, but it's also little money. Like, we've got people that are, believe it or not, in their late teens and early 20s that are buying, because don't forget, we've got storage for 198,000, which is technically a property.
Yeah.
So they're buying storage in their superannuation, and they don't have a lot of money there. So I guess if you want to make an investment, do you know what my golden nugget for today is?
What would that be?
When we did the talk, actually, if you guys really want to dig deep and dive deep, 0460 111 111. I'll put the comment. I'll put it in here. This number 0460 111 111. Okay, that number I've just put it on the screen. If you SMS that number, SMS the word SMART. Okay, SMART. SMS the word SMART to that number, and you'll get all of our slides from the Smart Investor Night.
That's gold.
How good was that?
That's pure gold.
How good was that?
That is pure gold. Yeah. And
there's actually a video with an amazing accountant, one of the best accountants in my world. There's a video from the mortgage broker talking, one of the best brokers in Australia, and myself talking about that. Now, what I was saying is the best part. What was the best part? I lost it now.
You lost it.
I lost it.
Leveraging super.
There was leveraging super. There was quarantining it away. There was the capital gains that we spoke about. There was the 198K being able to buy something at a really, really low price point. The amount that's in super, the $3.5 trillion that's sitting in super at the moment. There's you can leverage it. So you can get basically, if you've got a 20% deposit, 30% deposit, you can leverage it to sort of 70%. With people, what we're seeing people do at the moment with it, we're seeing people actually use it in their businesses. So they're actually buying commercial property in their super for their business. You can't live in it if it's in a residential, but you can actually, if you're an arm's length transaction, your business can actually rent it, which is clever. From that, there was a whole bunch of different aspects. So that Smart Investor Night, I think, is really you're going to get a lot of gold out of it. The Bunnings storage you can buy. I think we covered everything, but there was a nugget there that I missed.
If people are keen, it'll come to you tonight.
It'll come. You know what? I can guarantee that Smart Investor Night, it'll come out there. When we did that Smart Investor Night, there was plenty of gold talking. That was it. I got it. The big one. Drum roll. The big thing I got out from listening to the accountant on the Smart Investor Night was people were reluctant to borrow more money on an investment because they wanted to improve their home. So that's it, guys. Listen to this. You're going to find this unbelievable. If I go and borrow 400, 500,000 on my super, it is completely independent of myself and my wife's lending.
capacity.
our lending capacity. So, say I'm thinking of selling the 3-bedroom family home, and I want to buy a 4-bedroom family home. I'm thinking I'm not going to do anything. You're not going to borrow any money in my super because I want to improve the family home. It is completely independent of your personal lending or your business lending. Your super lending is like another human, like another entity, like another person. So you basically get a version. You basically get like a free person to lend money for you, which is called your super.
Like a virtual you.
It's a virtual you. A virtual you is the person that borrows. So when you go to the bank and ask them about, you know, buying an investment property in your name or improving your family home in your name, they don't actually look at the amount of debt you've loaded into your super.
That's a lot of leverage.
That's a lot of leverage.
That's
I'm glad because if I remember that, I would have walked away and went, that was it. So I hope that helps everyone out there tonight.
Definitely.
And anything else we missed? No, we nailed it.
That is pretty much all.
Super. So guys and girls, have a great night. And what happened to the screen bits?
I have no idea. We've got to figure it out.
The screen's gone. What happened, bits?
No idea.
The screen just turned off.
The idea was so good, the computer blew away.
It just dropped mic.
The idea was so good. Yeah. All right, let's see anything.